What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Litecast here on the CF After Dark Network. Thank you for starting your holiday weekend with us. I'm sure most of y'all have Friday off, so a little Thursday night action here on the show, live on the CF After Dark Network. I'm Austin Keeney. I'm joined by Matt Nelson, who is playing a road game tonight, but we, you know what? We have a lot to talk about. It's the summer. We shouldn't have a lot to talk about, but we have a lot to talk about. Matt, Matt, how you doing? I mean, I don't know. Where do we?
How does it look? How does it look?
Okay, I mean, this is what I wanted to ask. All right, what are we drinking tonight?
Little free advertisement. Not a sponsor, could be. It's Wild Eddie from Big Grove. It's a West Coast IPA, and it's one of my favorite beers of all time. It's fabulous, great beer.
I'm gonna tell you, Big Grove will not be a sponsor of this show.
No,
because they are
confirmed Hawkeye lovers.
Yeah, which makes it really painful for me to do this, but here's what I got going on tonight. Little Mango Eddie from Big Grove.
We both have Big Grove beers. I mean, I love their beers. It's just I don't like that they love the Hawkeyes. How's that? Look, man.
You're right. They make a quality product. They support the wrong team. I mean, if they want to advertise with us, I'd be happy to have them do it.
Thank you. Big Grove, that's a challenge. A shot across the bow.
Matt, you said you're at your in-laws, but I got to ask, like, what's motivating you to hop on the pod tonight?
I mean, the Tuesday night show is great. It's very rare that we get to do something where one, Keeney, cheers, we can have a beer. It's not that you can on a Tuesday night. It's just, a little easier on a Thursday. I've got World Cup on the brain. I wanted to talk fake Cyclone jersey patch ideas.
Yeah,
there's been some really good ones put on the internet, but we asked you all for a list of random Cyclones, so Keaty and I can keep the segment going of just we name random dudes, and you guys delivered. There's a good list. There's some bad submissions, Keeney, and we're gonna have to take a few people to task here and roast them. But there's also some absolute gold on this list, and I can't wait to dig through it.
Let's start by hitting some actual Iowa State news, because we didn't get a chance to talk about this. I mean, it happened on like Tuesday afternoon. So basketball season off to a rough start, though. Christian Wiggins, a freshman who I think was really highly thought of by the coaching staff, Achilles injury, he's out for the year. Matt, I got to be honest, I haven't done a deep dive on our incoming freshman. So, I mean, I had just heard good things, heard that he was a good player, was going to be a threat to take some minutes, but I guess, I don't know. It's disappointing, but it's hard to be like, oh, this is the worst thing that could happen to us, because we've never seen him play. But hopefully minor setback. I mean, this is where the new 5-5 thing comes into play. It's essentially burning his redshirt year. And ideally he'll be back with the Cyclones in 2027. Matt, your first reaction when you saw the news?
Yeah. Disappointed. I think he was going to play. However, I think this roster was still fairly deep. It seems like we're good for about one a year, a random offseason bad injury. We've had several preseason like Achilles injuries going back to I think Mason Williams. So they practice hard all offseason. I guess someone's probably going to get hurt. I don't know that it'll make a huge impact on the team, but I think we're really excited to see the young man from Minnesota play.
Yeah. Speaking of guys, this preseason Achilles thing goes back to Jeremiah Williams. Do you remember that guy? Never played a minute for Iowa State.
Jeremiah, what did I say? Did I say Mason Williams?
Mason Williams was a preseason injury. He wasn't an Achilles guy, but he was hurt right when he came here guy. Jeremiah Williams, who tore his Achilles and then just transferred, never played for Iowa State, but it happened here.
2 Williams, 2 injuries, 2 transfers. Bye.
Yep. I mean, I think you're right though. This roster was built not to sustain injuries, but there's a lot of depth there. Talented freshman class. We'll see with like the French kid that's coming in. But 5 transfers coming in, a couple holdovers.
Thank you, Donnie Rickles.
We talked about Jacoby Long a couple weeks ago on the draft of Steve Prohm era basketball players. I don't know. I feel like Jacoby Long was he had to have been like a Cap City League guy that put up buckets.
Gosh, I have something I want to say about him, but it's rude, and I don't think I can say it. We'll move on.
Okay. John, the way I understand it is it's 5 years to play. So
that's right.
I don't know if there's I haven't gotten fully read up on the rule. I don't know if the rule's technically in place yet. It's going to come into play. The thing is, we kind of talked about a little bit in the After Dark chat earlier, like if Christian Wiggins is as good as we think he is, or like had been talked up, he's a guy that wasn't going to play 5 years at Iowa State anyway. At some point, he would have gone professional, or you know what? You don't. I don't know the kid. Maybe he gets an offer for like $5 million to go to Duke if he balls out here and he goes. Like I think it'll be rare that we have a kid that actually plays 4 or 5 years if they come to Iowa State.
No, but I mean, can we recklessly speculate? I assume this means he'll be back on the team.
What school is he transferring to, Matt? You're going to speculate?
No, I think he'll be on the team, right? Like you saw this with Xavier Mitchell, who broke, I think, his fibula. Is that right? There's not going to be tape on him, and he was a pretty highly sought after recruit. Think about where he'll be in the priority ranking, though, for teams evaluating people in the portal. How much are you going to prioritize a high school kid who has not practiced even a full season because he's been on the shelf and you have no tape on him? It's going to be pretty low priority. So I think Mitchell's options were the same. It was, do I transfer all the way down to the MEAC, or do I just stay here and try to earn playing time and develop tape, keep working out with this team and try to get better? So my guess is, Keeney, that's exactly where he'll end up.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he's anywhere else next year. And then you think about the 2027 class, if you just essentially shift Christian Wiggins to that, then you have him, who I believe Mr. Basketball in Minnesota. You've got the 2 top 50 kids from Wisconsin. You're building out a really talented class for 2027 right off the bat.
Yeah, it's almost like
a
red shirt. Really,
it's going to. Don Plata, it depends. If he is like able to really stretch the floor and shoot threes, maybe, I don't know about starting, but you might maybe see more of like a willingness to go double big lineup with him and Buchanan. It's too early to tell. I think the team hasn't even really started practicing yet, but I don't know. Don Plata, I mean, I guess we can promote our guy Jake Brend, talk to all the basketball players this week. So recommend checking that out if you haven't done it yet. Good holiday weekend content for you. Should we move on, Matt? You said you had World Cup fever. Do you want to talk about just the absolute abomination that is apparently FIFA refereeing?
I mean, I'm waiting. I need this Texas Tech judge to injunction. We need, get ready to learn college sports in America, buddy, to FIFA.
It would be, I mean, we'd really put our American stamp on the World Cup if we were able to pull
injected
that off.
College sports tomfoolery into it. We really would. When you watch it, it's like, okay, he took out his ankle, but it's not that play, Keeney. It's all the other ones that happened that were the same play that were all called yellows leading up to that. So it's like, why the change, right? It's like when refs in a basketball game just let everything go, and all of a sudden they call one random foul they haven't called that way the whole game. It's like, what are you doing, right? Why the change? So, and I don't think they're going to appeal it. So I think they're just stuck. And unfortunately, Flo is like one of their best players, and I don't think they will enjoy not having him on Monday. So, but it's been great. They played a great match. To get a shutout was great. I mean, I had World Cup fever just watching Croatia and Portugal, and Portugal looks leaky. It looked like Croatia had tied it with a minute to go in extra time, and it ended up getting waved off. I mean, just a crazy match. And these knockout round games, I think, tend to be exciting like that. But yeah, it's been very nice to see us all collectively mad at the officials, which I feel like Keeney's very American. That's very fitting.
it's weird because like normally it's to like when everybody is universally on one side of things, there's if it's like a college football game, if it's like LSU and Alabama are playing and like a really bad targeting call happens, there's every LSU fan that's trying to defend, well, you know what, that's just the letter of the law and you got to play by it. No, this was like 100% universally everybody was on our side. I guess there are probably some Bosnian fans out there somewhere, but yeah, this is just a real overstep. I mean, an incidental play on the ball. The equivalent would be like a referee, kicking a guy out of a basketball game for a flagrant 2 foul for like making a play on the ball and hitting a guy in the head by accident. Like
Like a
this
loose, a
just
loose, yeah, a loose ball foul, basically, right? You're both diving for the ball and you hit someone hard. You never get ejected for that. There's Austin drinking.
I'm not
Orange
drinking
Crush.
Orange Crush. So this is Mango Eddie from not a sponsor, but should be a sponsor, Big Grove. It's a hazy IPA.
Not Cyclone, not Cyclone fans, but should be. Not McGimmick haters, but should be.
This is a good question. So for anyone who watched Two Guys with Jake Brand and Scott Sipker this morning, he talked about how the USA crowd should have been a little bit more on the ref. Is the soccer crowd a little bit too friendly? It made me think. So we're playing in the next round on Monday night. I don't know where the game is being played, but what I think should happen is this game should be moved to like LSU's stadium, and we should have just like 100,000 drunk Louisianans in there, really getting on the refs every time they make a call, especially if they don't understand the rules of the game.
People with like few teeth and who've been tailgating for 14 hours and speak a mix of Cajun French and English would be great. Just in general, right? I think USA, Americans have been kind of enraptured with all the fan interaction with whether it's Scotland or Algeria. Take your pick, right? South Koreans and Japanese people discovering Texas barbecue, which has been great. But the team is playing well. I don't know how else you could put it. That does not guarantee that you're going to make the quarters or whatever, right? But pretty easy to be excited about the way that they've played for two people that aren't soccer experts.
I have no
we've talked about this from. Go ahead.
I feel like this, like yesterday, was maybe when I finally learned what offsides is.
I think it's just if they don't like the guy on offense's vibe, it's offsides. I saw a tweet. It was offsides is when something exciting happens in soccer. That's offsides. That's every time.
They're really kicking the ball out there, says Donnie.
Thank you, Donnie. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're doing.
I do think there should be somebody sitting in the video review booth being like, "Hey, you know what? That guy was offsides, but that play was too cool, so we got to let it stand anyway."
That's right. A vibes review committee. Yeah, I love how they even have their version of like a Gene Steratore to come in and give commentary on whatever the hell's going on, which seems to be very hard to figure out in this sport compared to others. So, no, it's been really fun. I think it's been great because we've kind of had some matchups you could get up for. I've seen people talk about with Belgium, like what can we hate on Belgium for? I mean, they were horrible to people in the Congo and they like waffles. I mean, we'll have to. I'm sure we'll drum up some hate somehow, but I feel like you've got to like our chances against Belgium. But Balogun being out does hurt. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around that, unfortunately.
You can say you like our chances against Belgium. I don't know anything about Belgium's team.
A bunch of sissies, cigarette smoking, pastry eating sissies. I don't know anything either.
They do. They're probably drinking beer though. That's feels like
they do like beer. Belgian beer is very
thing. Yeah.
They love their beer. That's right. Okay. Anything else cup wise? It's continually great memes. I think this plays in really well with the 250th with the 4th of July being here on Saturday. The dream matchup of playing England on the 4th of July, unfortunately, did not come to fruition.
We were too good to make that happen.
But I don't know that our collective system would have been able to handle it. Playing the team that we're celebrating our independence from 250 years later on our home turf, that would have been just chaotic. So
let me ask you: Do you have a vested interest? I saw England is playing Mexico in the next round. I think on July 4th.
That'd be a great match. Mexico is on
Who are
fire right
you?
now.
So who are you hoping wins that one?
Oh man. It's tough because their fans are both like crazy rabid. They both have good histories in World Cups. I don't know, man. I think Mexico. There are so many people from Mexico who live in this country who have history tied with this country. They're our neighbor to the south. It feels like you've got to support them over England across the pond, but I don't know. England's got a lot of history too, and is one of the better teams left in this tournament. So that's just a great match. I think it's going to be worth watching on Saturday.
I really appreciated the crowd from Mexico the other night. Just seeing
They're
the videos
insane.
of like the camera just shaking when the goals are going in. Yeah, that's good stuff. I feel like I have one more thing for you. Maybe. Oh, I'm sure I've asked you this. I'm sure we've talked about this before, but like 4th of July, do you have like a big Nelson family? Like this is the thing we do on the 4th that you're looking forward to this weekend?
Not really. We actually got together as a Nelson family here last weekend or last night in Mobile, and we're up with the in-laws. Hence the road game here. I require like disturbingly patriotic clothing, music, which is primarily just like Toby Keith and Leonard Skinner. That usually gets it done for me. And then Keeney, I need to be near water, a swimming pool, a lake, especially with the weather the way that it's been. So we're up at the lakes here this weekend. And then I think Sunday I'm going to smoke some ribs. I think you got to fire up the smoker this weekend. That's like a requirement. What about you?
Oh, I mean, our tradition. So Carlisle has a big 4th of July festival at the park in town. That
Yep.
We have a pie and ice cream stand from the church that we sell pie and ice cream.
That's American as hell.
Yeah, well, I'll be working the stand, so I'll be
you'll be sweaty as hell.
I will be slinging ice cream at the Carlisle North Park from like 6 o'clock at night until we close the stand, and before then, probably just sitting at the pool. But
church stand, not a sponsor, could be. Also, Fizz, not a sponsor, would love to be.
I do think it's Fizz ice cream that we're serving.
That's perfect.
And I am a pie baker as well. So we were baking pies earlier tonight. But
I love that. We should sponsor Fizz. We're that big of fans.
Cyclone Fanatic wants to be a sponsor of Fizz. All right.
That's right. Okay, top. Hold on. Keeney, top. Do you have a top pie, a top 2 pies, a top? I have one specifically that I love, but I'm curious if you have the same.
Oh, I bake triple berry pie. That is my go-to, which is strawberry, raspberry, and I want to say blueberry is the third one.
Be great. That sounds terrific. Mine has blueberry in it. You don't see it. It's rare. My wife's made it. The best one I ever had, Keeney, was at the Immaculate Conception food stand at the Woodbury County Fair in Mobile, Iowa, my hometown. I don't know who made it. It was clearly an old church lady. Blueberry peach. Blueberry peach pie. It was phenomenal. I've only maybe had like 3 or 4 slices in my life because have you ever seen one? Probably not. It's a phenomenal combination. It's a great pie.
So we had when we were making pies, we were making apple pie, we were making triple berry pie, and we had leftovers, and we just kind of threw it all together and threw it in a pie pan. So we got apple, raspberry, strawberry. I mean, I have no idea. We need a name for it. I have no idea what it's going to be called, but
boy, that's a great.
I just said call it chaos pie, and then when someone asks you what's in it, just like apple. I mean, you just got to try it to find out.
Appleberry.
I think we're just going to go with mixed fruit, but I wanted to call
it mixed fruit pie. That sounds to me like you dumped a can of fruit cocktail into a pie crust and baked it, and that's what you got.
Kind of sounds like it. No, I want to call it like chaos pie. I want to have some.
I like that.
Yeah,
I do. If I was going to have a second pie, apple pie is great. Okay, John, I'm glad you mentioned. If I have a top 3, I think apple gets the all-American. Hold on. It hurts me to say this, as Stephen A. would say. I think apple pie is overrated. I think it's overrated. I think it's great, but I don't know that it deserves to automatically get the top pie spot. I'd rather have a triple berry. Strawberry rhubarb, if you've never had it. Straight rhubarb for me, Keeney, is like toxic. It's too bitter. Okay. Strawberry rhubarb is incredible. It's a great pie.
I have never been into rhubarb because I think it just overpowers everything. So like even strawberry rhubarb,
Fair.
I feel like it's just gonna taste like rhubarb. But
And it does, but it's not
popular.
as bad as a straight rhubarb. I struggle with. It's too much. Pecan is good. I not as big of a fan. Okay, Marie Callender's is pretty good. That's a great point, Sandberg.
By the way, I am on board with you. I think apple pie is overrated. I think
let's go.
I think apple crisp is the superior apple dessert.
Oh, now we're talking. Right. Spot on. Like, I'll do apple crisp all day and night. So apple crisp. It made the Statue of Liberty cry. That's great. I'm a sucker for if you want to throw a key lime at me, or a lemon meringue, or like a chocolate, like a French silk. I don't really view them pies. To me, that's more of a dessert. Or my mom, Carol, give her credit, makes a strawberry one where it's like a cold, almost like a Jell-O strawberry with a graham cracker crust. Insanely good. I don't really consider it a normal pie because a lot of those I don't think you bake. However, they're fabulous. We've got to just admit.
Now, here's a really good point. What if you throw some caramel in with the apple? How about caramel apple pie?
I know a lot of people do that. I don't know that I've tried it. I'm not a huge caramel fan, but I would eat a caramel apple pie. I think that sounds great. My dad Eric loves a gooseberry pie. Have you ever had a gooseberry? It's like the sourest berry.
I
know people love
pie every year.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I think it looks disgusting, and I don't like sour dessert, but I'm always blown away by how many people want gooseberry pie.
I don't know if it's the rarity of like, when was the last time you saw gooseberries? Great point.
I see gooseberries once a year on the 4th of July when I sell pie at the church stand.
The Marcus Community Fair, not the county fair, in Cherokee County, where my family's from originally, there was always a lady that would bring gooseberry pie to the church stand, and it would just disappear. There's something to gooseberry pie. I wonder how you would describe the flavor of a gooseberry.
It's just, I think, sour. I think that's it.
Highly acidic, tastes like sour grapes. Okay. It's spot on.
Yeah, it's sour.
Okay, I think it's time. We've got to transition into our favorite segment, which we did with NBA players with Dylan. And I will take any pie-related comments. If you talk about pie, we will come back to it. But it's a great time to do this. And can I give you the backstory, Keeney, into why I wanted to do this? I think I just did the Brian Hindhorst. Now, why would he do that? The podcast Bloom and Williams did, where they talked through their top 10 players, got me like absolutely fired up for football. And I think I've turned that corner. Levi and Jake Bren talked about that. Like, when do you get ready for football? And in Levi's mind, like, he's always ready because football is his sport. And he's right. I know it is for him. Something about for me, Keeney, it's usually prior to August. Sometime in July, I get bored enough. First time I see an Athlon magazine, I buy it and I start reading through it. Gooseberry sounds like a made-up Willy Wonka bear. It kind of does, actually.
It does sound fake, but it's real.
But as they were reading through some of those stats, Matt Leaving can't take what Breece Hall did here away. Like, that he scored a touchdown and set the NCAA record for a running back in games with a consecutive touchdown. His stats are unbelievable. Keeney, I forgot. Look up Xavier Hutchinson's at Iowa State sometime. What on earth was that guy doing? Just an absolute yards machine. Hakeem Butler had almost a 1,500-yard receiving season here. I don't know how I don't remember that. I think there were so many good players that came in a run there that their stats to us maybe didn't stand out at the time. But I think if you're going to look back in the next year or two, it's obscene how good of players have come through these doors over the last 15 years.
Did your excitement for football ever coincide with getting the video game when you were growing up?
1,000%. That is so true.
So it's out now, by the way. Levi was playing 27 earlier tonight. Yep. And I mean, if Jalen, I don't know how good they are at like identifying who's going to be good on Iowa State's team, but like, other than Jalen Rayner, I don't know a lot of names. Getting the video game could be a good way for you to learn names of who's going to be on the field.
Especially since they're in the roster. It's not Cyclone player number 49 anymore. Can we, which by the way, shout out to the MVPs back in the day, Keeney, who used to make the roster files. so you could
Oh
upload
yeah,
your team.
those
Just
guys
absolute,
rocked.
no question, right? Like, thank you for your service. There goes my hero.
They did their thing, and then I pressed one button on Reddit, and then I downloaded it
Then
onto
you
my
got there. You
game,
had
and
it.
like, yeah, that's awesome.
Uh, can can I ask? I think everyone's got a favorite NCAA game, much like they do a Madden one. For me, it's no question, and you might have to tell me on the year, but I'm pretty sure it's 2000, 2009. I believe it had Michael Crabtree on the cover from Texas Tech. Because I want to say the next year was Darren McFadden with Arkansas. Um, I'll look this up real quick. I want to say I think that's right. I think it was either 2008 or 2009. That was
I
my
think
yep
2010
2008.
had Michael Crabtree on the cover.
2010. Okay, yeah, football 10. So the '09 rosters. That was that was my game. I played the crap out of it. Iowa State had an okay roster. I love that one. Played the ever living snot out of it. I was playing that thing when NCAA 13 was still out because I liked it so much. So that was my game. That would have been 2010. Crabtree on the cover. Did you have one that you played a
I
lot?
mean, I kind of have I kind of have to default to 14, which was the last one because I just put so many hours on that game after 2014.
Was
Like
that Tim Tebow
I
on the
remember
cover?
still playing that during COVID. No, I that would have been Denard Robinson from Michigan.
That's
And
right.
then we thought that was going to be the last game forever. Like I didn't even buy a new Xbox forever because the only games I played were like NCAA football. So
Yeah,
I put so many hours on that. I won so many championships with Iowa State in my dynasty.
so
I do
yeah.
remember the old ones that had the mascot games, though, were a lot of fun. And apparently, they brought mascot games back this year.
Oh
We've got a
man, I
Dynasys
remember.
2006.
I
That's
remember at my cousin Nick had like a. I want to say it was his college graduation party from Morningside, and they had a party like at their college house at Morningside, and they had a PlayStation 2, maybe even a PlayStation 1. It might have been a regular PlayStation. And they let us play it. And we did mascot games. We would do like the Stanford Tree versus the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Just a great time. Just total chaos.
yeah,
Um,
like Big Al with Alabama and like the Syracuse Orange, like
Incredible.
good
The
stuff, good
Orange
stuff.
versus the Western Kentucky one was always was always a great matchup too. Just 22 blobs running around on the field. Um, those are so fun. I really got into recruiting, and I have not played any of the new games, so I don't know like if I would like with the portal, but it was fun around like 12, 13. They started, because again, it was arms race, Keeney, and regular college football. So it bled over to the game. You could upgrade your facilities. It was always fun when you had a recruit. If you were a bad team, you didn't know what he liked. So you were just guessing. You were trying to play to your strengths and figure out what that person cared about. Yeah, that was every now and then you'd be able to snag a 5-star. I remember what I would do. I would filter for the pipeline states. So back at the time, right? This is Rhodes, Chiswick. It was always Texas and Florida for Iowa State. And then I would also just run a search. You could go into the search function, and I would just search anybody who had Iowa State rated as their top ranked recruit, and just basically offer all of them. And they would almost always commit. And then you'd have to sort through, how many of these 50 do I actually want? Um, it was a really easy way to do it. And sometimes you may not, there may be like the 18th ranked running back and he's from Maine, but for some reason he has Iowa State as his number one. So you could find good players that way that you would have missed maybe otherwise. So,
I would
oh,
always,
I
I'd
logged a
always
lot of
like,
hours.
you could do a little bit of scouting. I'd always just be like, all right, who's fast? Like who runs fast?
Who's fast? Yeah.
Can I find like a fast athlete at quarterback that has any interest in my school? And then I'll just,
Yeah.
scramble. How do you feel about
Well,
Aiden Flores as a running back, by the way?
love it. I think I got to talk to some people who've watched him practice a lot, and his angles are great. Which, if you watch him return punts, clearly he's good at it. And he is so fast. Once he gets an edge on you, there's no pursuit angle that works. Can you either get him down within the 5 yards, or he might be gone. And my guess is with him, they're pretty much going to exclusively attack the edge, from what I've gathered. And again, if you miss a step on him, good luck tackling him. He is that fast. So I think he'll be fine. How much running between the tackles are they going to run power with him, Austin? I don't know. I'm guessing they have some other backs they'd maybe rather do that with. I'm also assuming he'll be involved in the passing game all the time, right? 10 catches a game.
A little dubious to see him handling like 18 touches a game just because he's never done it, like especially in the Big 12.
Little smaller body too, so right. But small running backs does not always mean that they aren't durable. So,
all right, Matt, we got sidetracked, by the way. We're talking guys.
We did. This is great. And, okay, and guys, there's three kinds of guys, right? There's like, remember that guy? Oh, he was great. Then there's Jags, JAG, right? A Jag is just a guy, someone who started maybe 10 games over their career and played a lot for a couple seasons, but was just kind of there, But you remember him because you saw him play maybe quite a bit. Don, yeah. Rage put up 80 against Penn State. Love that. We're looking for like random, like the guy that appeared, had a moment or two. There's a few, Keeney, I actually made a list in Word and I did some research on all these people. So if you want to share some of the tweets and share the screen, they're probably more interactive. But one of you sickos sent in a guy that I think legitimately only appeared in 4 games over 3 seasons. And I don't know how in the hell you found this guy's name. Like blown away. So whoever that was, absolutely sick. And I really appreciate you for it. But I want to start, right? We put this call out.
Yeah, do you want to start with submissions from like followers on Twitter?
Yeah, and then I have some in my heart. I know you do as well.
I got a few names that I think are just fun to talk about. My favorite kind of guy is when you just say like Easton Dean. Remember that guy?
Oh man, we thought he was going to be the truth, right?
He was like a quarterback, then he was a tight end, and then he just didn't really work out at tight end. And
that didn't correct. It just for a guy we talked about a lot, we got absolutely zero out of it. What was the name in the old Slack? Leaston Dean is what we used to call him. Or Leaston Bean. We had a bunch of names for him. Okay. I did want to roast a few people for giving names that are not random. And I know like random player just means like just name anybody. But the Easton Dean is perfect. Literally, that's the definition of random. Like Jack Hilton on Twitter. I'm going to call you out. Keeney, if you want to share that screen, you can. But he threw out Lane Danielson. And that's an older name, Keeney, but just about everybody who's not
too good to be a guy,
25, he had 1,000-yard season. You cannot have 1,000-yard receiving season and be random, right? Lane is too recognizable of a figure. He's very well regarded. So like that one, Fitzy, our old fearless leader, I got to call Fitzy out as well. It's a punter, Keeney. So like punters are pretty random.
Okay.
However, hold on. This is for the committee. I don't think Kirby Vanderkamp is random. That guy, his senior year, was on every watch list. He was a preseason All-American kicker. Like Kirby Vanderkamp was a really freaking good punter. However, caveat, he's a kicker. So what are your thoughts? Random?
I think Kirby Vanderkamp's a guy. Like, I think he's, if you say Kirby Vanderkamp, remember that guy. You remember him like doing trick plays, and you remember like, remember when our punter was our best player? Like,
he might have been our best running back for a whole season, correct? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Paul Rhodes was game one with Kirby Vanderkamp.
I also saw somebody said like Holden Kramer as another punter.
That is crazy
Holden
random.
Kramer, also a guy as a punter.
There was one other one.
Do you have any more that you want to roast, or should we dive in?
No, well, okay. There was one other one, but I'm going to give him a pass. Someone said Steven Rumpelhammer. Rump was a great player. Played in the McCarney years. I tried to steer this to later than 2000. Rump was a really good lineman. However, the name Rumpelhammer, Keeney, I'm in for. That's always random. Like a guy named Rumpelhammer is a great poll. That's just a very funny name. So whoever submitted that, I take no umbrage. You picked a great name to throw in. So I'm.
That's a name that I'm not even familiar with. I don't know who that.
Yeah, and there in that vein, someone suggested Chris Singleton. Chris Singleton, Keeney would have played on like some Alvin Bowen teams, like mid 2000s. He was a really good corner. Started like 25 games. It's a name that not a lot of people know, but Singleton was probably way too good to be considered random. He was a really good corner on some pretty good teams. Those are really
I
the
think
only
Chris
ones.
Singleton is he's either a country singer or a player on the basketball team this year.
That's why I thought it was a great pull, because when I started Googling, I'm like, this is going to show up country singer. Like, it's going to direct me to Chris Stapleton. I want to start with Jackson Pence here because this is
Tad
Keeney.
Egby's a guy.
Keeney, this is perfect. Like, just an absolute random. I looked up his stats. Like, the most receiving yards he ever had was like 250 in a season. But for some reason, Tad Ekby lived in my brain for like 5 years. I thought he was always going to be great. It's a name I still think of like once a month. Man, remember Tad Ekby? Like, Keeney, that's all I gotta say. Just remember Tad Ekby, and you say, yes, of course I remember Tad Ekby.
Yeah, I
But there's
remember
no
Tad
good
Egby
reason
because
why.
he was on just some truly awful football teams. Like, it's easy for me to remember guys from when I was in college because the teams were so bad that like anybody who like popped off for a game, I'm like, okay, I remember that guy.
Now,
I am
hold on.
not familiar.
Settles with Chinabichi or Chibi. Settles, you're a loyal listener, and we respect you. This guy had 245 tackles for Iowa State over his career. Dude, I mean, look at him. He looks like a thumb with eyes, like just a tackles machine over here. Chin, he really doesn't have much of a chin. I'm sorry, sir. I don't mean to offend you, but he is like in the letter winners club. Like, he was a really good player. However, because of the name, again, there's some points involved here. I can live with that. I think that's fine.
All right,
Okay.
we're gonna rip a few here.
Yep.
James McMillian, is that right? I'm not familiar with that guy.
James McMillian. I Googled him. I got like nothing.
Okay.
Like, extremely random, which I really do.
Lisa,
respect.
if you're somehow watching this, please like fill us in the comments.
Yeah, please do.
So Philip Bates, does he count as a guy?
Okay.
Because he was like a prime recruit who just never worked out.
Okay. Yeah, he's probably more of a guy than he is random. But Keeney, in my opinion, it's an insane pull. His freshman year, supposed to come in as a quarterback. They put him in the Iowa game in 2007, even though he's listed on the roster as a quarterback. And Philip Bates hauls in like a 38-yard catch to put Brett Culbertson in field goal range with like no time on the clock to make the game-winning field goal. And we won that game 15-13, and Iowa State made 5 field goals, did not score a touchdown. And I think Culbertson missed 2 kicks. He set a career high, but I think he missed a couple. And Iowa State also the reason that's such a good pull, Keeney, we were wearing the most disgusting uniforms of all time in that game. Chiswick had him wearing these old throwbacks, and they are without a doubt the worst uniform we have ever worn. They were atrocious. The pants look like puke. Like, I don't know what we were doing, but Philip Bates is insane because of that reason. After that season, he played a little wide receiver, switched him right back to quarterback. Gene Chiswick, for some reason, threw a quarterback in on a Hail Mary play, and he caught it.
Did he transfer? Did he play somewhere else?
He did transfer. He played, I want to say, at Ohio after. Okay, I have a few other names that are insane.
Chantrell Johnson, I think, is a little bit too good because that's a name that I was familiar with, even though I didn't follow Iowa State football super closely at that time.
He is your classic. Had one highlight that had people melting in their pants. He had like a 40-yard touchdown run against Kansas in Jack Trice, like in 2012, and he literally juked a defender so hard the guy jumped the opposite direction and fell over. Like a proper Madden, you juke the shit out of somebody. And he was shifty. He was like 5'10". He had quick feet. We all thought he was going to be incredible because of how quick he was. Number 21. I'm with you. He's more than a random person to me. However, didn't have much of a career. I don't know why if he wasn't durable. But that is your classic. If you're going to ask like who on this list has one highlight and only one highlight, Chantrell Johnson is the pick, very clearly.
Chris Singleton, we talked about him. Lane Danielson, we talked about him. Stevie Johnson.
Wrong sport. Patrick Neal. Okay, hold on. It's a great one. Michael Pfeiffer, I know you from work. How you doing, bud? Okay. You want to guess what this guy Keeney. Oh, this is so good. You want to guess what his Cyclone Athletics page says? I'm not joking. This is, you can look it up. It has like his high school stats, right? That has each year that he played. The longest sentence it has for one of his seasons is 4 words. It says played in Keeney. Played in 2 games? In 1 game?
I don't know Patrick Neal. Like, what position?
Played against. No, sorry, no. I'm on the wrong one. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm on. I'm on the most random one that I found. I got the name wrong. You remember Patrick Neal? So Patrick Neal was a defensive lineman. Actually had a really nice career. He's one of those where I debated about whether or not he's random because Neal actually had a pretty nice career. I want to say he's a West Des Moines guy, if I remember correctly. Fine poll. Okay, Dragon Energy has the one. Zach Spears, Keeney. Zach Spears. His bio on Iowa State's website is played in 2 games, played in 1 game, played against Texas Tech for 1 whole season. 1 whole season, Keeney. That's all it says. Played against Texas Tech. Great. How?
No stats.
How
no
did
stats,
you? How did
no
you?
nothing.
No stats, no tackles, no nothing. Just played in 4 games in a 3-year career. That is insane. And like Zach Spears is a name I've maybe heard, but I have no idea where he pulled that name out of. Like that is, Keeney. I think that's the most random name on that. That's the closest to like a special teamer where it says over his career he played in like 1 game. That would truly be like as random as you could possibly get, and that is pretty damn close. So I give him credit. We talked about Rump. Yep. So back to Patrick Neal really quick. Patrick Neal is a guy because no one remembers him, but he started like 22 games and played in 46. Keeney, he had a really long career, never got recognition. I don't think won any awards from the conference. Like, just was really durable and played well, and it just kind of did it quietly. So he was a really nice player that just never really got any credit. Okay, hold on. Breon Creer needs to be discussed. Evan 52793 whoever you are. Keeney, when do you think he played? When do you think? I'm just asking. When do you think he played?
No idea. I don't know who Breon Creer is.
2015, 16, 17. So we were very much college, post-college, should remember him, transferred from UNI, maybe played in 7 games. And I'm not kidding you. I've literally never heard his name in my life. And he would have been
he's almost too anonymous to be a guy. Like,
it's just insane. Like, when I saw that, like, there's no way.
Like, if you're having beers with your buddy and say, "Hey, Breon Creer, remember that guy?" Your buddy's gonna.
Everyone's gonna say, "No, I don't." That's almost too random. Okay. Ryan Baum's another one I don't even recognize. There's Vanderkamp. Okay, Jason Berryman. Boy, this is sad. Were you weren't a mid 2000s football fan, correct?
I think I remember the Jason Berryman story though, because
Jason Berryman is really good. What do you remember about him?
He got kicked off the team, right?
Got kicked off the team, correct? Unfortunately, he died of gunshot
or something.
He died of gunshot wounds in 2014 in Texas. So he died way too young. Good player, really good lineman, just had some problems. But Adam, that is a good poll because I love Jason Berryman when he was on this team. He was really good. Eric Klein, we got to talk about this for a second now. Jerome Tiller is a legend, right?
I'm about to derail the podcast for a second because
hold on.
We have a
James Hayden. What's up, man?
Breon Creer is playing in
There's
the
no
CFL.
way. There's no way. There's no way.
Now?
There's no way. I've never heard of this guy. He never played here. He did clearly. He's on the website. Maybe we're the only ones who don't know who Breon Creer is, Keeney. Maybe we're the fools here.
Breon Creer has a page on the CFL's website.
That's insane.
But I cannot find that he has like logged any stats.
That's wild.
It looks like he played in the CFL in like 2018.
Still playing. Okay. What do you remember about Jerome Tiller? Let's stop. We've breezed through too many of these. Jerome Tiller is somebody we can linger on and marinate on. What do you remember the most about Tiller the Thriller? I have
Just
one very specific memory.
like he was like the best recruit we ever got, right? And then he just wasn't any good. Like I think he's too good to be a guy because
Yep.
of how well regarded he was as a high school player.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought we converted him to wide receiver.
I know he played quarterback and receiver.
We tried to do the old Austin Flynn. Do you know where he's a legend from? My favorite video on YouTube to this day is the Yakety Sax 8 turnover game against Nebraska in 2007. Austin Arnaud was sick, and they threw Jerome Tiller in. There you go, Donnie Rickles. He started that game, and he threw. We scored 9-7. He threw a 48-yard bomb to Jake Williams. Random, could be random, but he's a guy. Right before the half, and Jerome Tiller was the quarterback for that game. Did just enough to not get his beat. I don't think maybe had one pick, but didn't do much, but did enough to get us one of the most hilarious wins in program history. A game that we still don't talk enough about, the 8 turnover game in Lincoln. That's where I will never forget Jerome Tiller from. Just called off the bench. We all knew he was highly regarded, but that team had like 20 people with the flu. They had like 15 people puking in the locker room at halftime. So give him credit. That is Eric. I agree with you, Keeney. Too good of a pull, but Jerome Tiller is like, he's one of those random legends that like I'll still be talking to somebody about in 20 years because of the like random pop-up he had.
In the right system, you'll be saying like in the right system, Jerome Tiller would have been really good.
That's right. By the way, I just noticed that you said you're not blocked by Cyclone basketball on your file. That's great.
Hey man, the burners are mad. They unblocked, but I was never blocked.
Okay, Kevin Larson, run to the foul pole, take a lap. Ellis Hobbs is my goat. Get out of here with that. That's not random. Ellis Hobbs is a dude. You're talking to Super Bowl champion. He ran a kickback for a touchdown in a freaking Super Bowl.
Yeah, way too good to be a guy.
Okay. TJ Mutcherson is one. Jack Trice Mafia. This one I honestly forgot about. So I don't know if you remember, Mutch was really good here, Keeney. He was our starting safety in 15. This would have been the end of the Rhodes era, and he got dismissed from the team. Fun fact, went to UCF, ended up playing for the Seahawks, and he won a ring. He's got a ring. Won a championship with Seattle. Got a ring. I don't think he played much, but I mean, we clearly don't recognize him, I think, because he got dismissed, but he did play here 2 years, I think. So, like, again, totally random. Would not have – you could have bet me up $400, and I wouldn't have come up with that outcome that he ended up in the NFL and won a Super Bowl with Seattle. So, like, that was shocking to me. But I do remember when he played here, he was Keeney, my, like, junior year. He was really good on a not great team, but really good safety.
Let's stop on this one too. Matt Leo.
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
What a story he was, man. The Register fanatic, everybody wrote about this because it was so bizarre to pull somebody from Australia who wasn't a kicker. How do you remember? I remember him being really tall, good looking dude. I want to say he was like number 89, which was really weird for a defensive end. Is that right? Really tall.
I don't remember his number. I don't remember him hardly doing anything on the field, but I do remember the story about him.
He had a fine career, like 50 tackles across 2 seasons. Some sacks, was maybe a little underwhelming, but he did fine.
I want to say again, like he like kicked around NFL training camps for a little while too.
He did.
He did that international player program.
He's now a player development director for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's stuck on their staff. I want to say they maybe
Cyclones in the NFL when we just didn't have anybody that
played. He was in training camp for several teams, including the Eagles at defensive end. That is a good pull. Like, the name is very recognizable, Cyclone Kamala, but in terms of what he did for Iowa State, very random. That's a great little Easter egg, because how many Australian guys can you talk about? Alex Gukin, I am so glad you put this name in here because I have an incredible Levi Peters story. Um, First of all, I have two really. My wife and a bunch of college friends gave some rides to him and a few other football players. They wanted to go to McDonald's some random summer night, and he mooned them all. So my wife and all of her friends have seen his butt. So that's a great story. I'm sure Levi would appreciate me telling that one. Um, but I did an interview with him when I was working with the previously unknown and unnamed and unmentionable website, where I basically, Keeney, just like sent him 20 questions on Google Drive and was like, hey, if you want to answer these, like, I'm not a journalist, but I'll write a fun little piece because he was a walk on, right? It was like his sophomore year, and we had all heard about there's this crazy guy on punts that just murders people, right? But remember, he started at linebacker his senior year, like actually played in a starting role and was a pretty good linebacker, right? He was.
My memory of Levi Peters is him actually playing.
Yes, his senior year, he started every game, and I would say was Big 12 caliber. Not great, didn't make all conference, but was a serviceable starter. But on special teams, Keeney, he would literally record like 20 tackles a year. He was just insane. He would like missile you before like targeting was a thing, would just lay out and try to murder you. That was his, but he had this massive beard. And one of the questions was, and he kind of had this reputation as being crazy, which if you remember, do you remember that one season he started, he had cornrows. Like white guy with a massive beard and cornrows. I don't
remember him having cornrows.
If you Google Levi Peters, I think you'll find a picture of him with cornrows. Anyway, he had this huge beard, and I was like, "What's something that you do to like psych people out at practice?" He said, "Oh, easy. We have basically pancakes for breakfast every morning. I'll put an immense amount of syrup on them, and then I won't wash my face, so my beard will just be full of syrup. And when I need a little boost at practice, I'll just put my beard in my mouth and suck on it, and I'll get a huge hit of sugar from all the syrup in my beard." Man. Dude, I'm telling you, he was on a different wavelength, that guy. And it showed on kickoff when he would just murder somebody. Huge fan of Levi Peters. Always have been. Don't know what he's doing today. I hope he's still crazy. In a good way.
Do you know anything about Levin White? That's not a name I remember.
Unfortunately, I do. This is one of the oldest names on the list. And I mean, John, this is great value, pun intended. Keeney, in 1997, him and Sam Mack, a basketball player, robbed a Burger King.
Oh, okay.
Legit robbed a Burger King. I believe the one in Ames and got kicked off the team. Like, what? You want to talk about random? That's random. Like, the next time you see an older Iowa State fan, Keeney just drop a, hey, I think Levin White is allowed to go into a Burger King? And hopefully they smiled like, oh, I can't. That's like what? Remember Mike Taylor? Mike Taylor was kicked off the team for stealing, I want to say, cough medicine from the C-store at the Tower, at Maple Willow Large. Like just a totally random, if you were alive to watch Mike Taylor, you remember that. Yeah, Levin White, boy, that's a tough scene. All great names so far. Any more that you have? Because I was sent a few others that we've got to cover.
I've got a few.
Okay, so
I've got a few, and there's a couple more here.
Chris Williams had two. Chris Williams had two. We got to get to them both. I can't roast him for Mike Brantner because Brantner is an old name. That was early in Paul Rhodes, but Mike Brantner was a great punter. He was, but it's punters, so that's funny. Like, who remembers Mike Brantner? But he was a really good punter, Keeney. Like an excellent punter. But that is a great poll. I always also thought that like Brantner just sounds like the last name a punter should have. I don't know. It just seems very fitting. Do you remember Mike Brantner at all?
I got to be honest. I'm not super familiar with him.
And then I looked up Brandon Hundley. Nothing. I got nothing. I have no idea who the guy is. Nothing. I think he played. Like, it's extremely random. A few other ones I was sent. Kurt Hammerschmidt. Great name. Kurt Hammerschmidt was a blocking tight end. I want to say he was either number 86 or 88. He would have been on that Insight Bowl winning team back in 2009 when Arnaud won that game down in Phoenix. Always liked Hammerschmidt. Was lucky to catch 15 passes a year. Kurt was just out there to hit people. But Keeney, Kurt Hammerschmidt is a great name. That's an incredible name for a football player.
By the way, speaking of like blocking guys, a name that I thought of was, remember Sam Buckner?
That's such a good poll. All right.
Like
long hair.
Fullback. I think he was a neck roll guy.
Crazy dude. Yep.
Early Campbell era.
Kind of got some traction because people saw like someone made like a 1 minute highlight tape of him just blocking people, and people
Jared
on the
Russ
internet,
is another good one too. Russ Bus. He's a little too
the
recent,
Russ
but
bus.
like
That's true.
Campbell
Yep.
had a good run of those guys that like the third tight end. I mean, Dylan Sainer, obviously.
Oh, come on, Steve-O Klotz.
Steve O'Klotz. Like
Steve-O Klotz is great.
we had such a good run of like fullback / blocking tight ends. This is a good one. Camilo Tongamoa. Remember him?
Man, Matthias was obsessed with this guy. It was right after Moana had come out, and he kept making all of these Maui edits about Camilo Tongamoa. I believe he had been committed to Oregon, maybe played for Oregon, and had one okay season, and then he just disappeared, just vanished. So
this is another
but,
awesome guy. DeVario Montgomery.
Okay. Oh, Donnie Rickles, you did it. DeVario Montgomery. Remember how much hype that guy had when he came here, number 88? He was a big wide receiver and like one of the biggest commits we'd ever had.
We had him and Alan Lazard at the same time, and it's like, oh, we're just going to throw it up to one of our two guys, and they're going to come down with it. Like, we're actually
no. Donnie Rickles, I have the ultimate random. They got kicked off the team at the same time in the same offseason, Keeney, and I was crushed when it happened. I have to be honest with you. I had to Google this guy intensely because I could not for the life of me remember who he was. And I remember being crushed when he transferred. When I Googled it, he wasn't dismissed. He was transferred. DeVario was dismissed. Chris Williams wrote a huge article about how it was a crushing loss. No offense, Chris Williams. Keeney, I'm assuming you don't know the name that I'm talking about, but you will when I tell you. Do you remember Joshua Thomas, running back number 1 from Campbell's first
Joshua
season?
Thomas. Well,
he was a tank, 5'11", 230.
He played. I think he was a late Rhodes era guy. I remember because the year he scored all the touchdowns, I was in.
That's school. Right. 2015 was his only season with the program. No, so that would have been the first year Campbell because no, you're right. That was Rhodes last year. Rhodes last year.
Because we have Mike Warren that would just run between the 20s, and then we would have Joshua Thomas score touchdowns.
It was Lendale White and Reggie Bush. That was the season Mike Warren had like 1,200 yards. Had a great year. He was 1,500, and he led the team. He had 7 rushing touchdowns, which broke the rookie record for running back touchdowns at Iowa State. He maybe still holds. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's been passed, but he was the short yardage guy, and you couldn't tackle him. And we're like, this is awesome. We have 2 great running backs paired up, and he left in the offseason. The reason he did, in hindsight, you know who replaced him?
That was David Montgomery.
Yep. I'm assuming they maybe said, hey, your time is going to be limited. We like David better. But man, Keeney, I remember being crushed when Joshua Thomas left because that one season he was really good. He was massive. You couldn't tackle him. I've got to be honest. Have you thought about Joshua Thomas prior to me mentioning that name?
Not lately.
Yeah.
I remember Joshua Thomas, though. I remember having just like a guy who randomly, like if you look back at single season, like rushing touchdown leaders, it'll be Breece Hall, David Montgomery, Carson Hansen is probably going to be up there because he had a lot of touchdowns. And then
Joshua Thomas.
And you're like, Joshua Thomas.
And it's such a nondescript, like random name, right? Like it's not something like David Montgomery that stands out. It's Joshua Thomas, like a very common name. But I loved him. There's 2 more that I wanted to mention that got called out that are great. Really good. Batch 40, our friend Jed Batchelor had Nick Leaders. Nick was a good player from Omaha, a guy that I have not thought about. He played in the mid-2000s. It's a great name. But the one that I really wanted to talk about, and I know you remember him. He's not a guy. He won some Big 12 awards. Jake Latimer. Jake Latimer might have been the most insane human being on that football team for 2 years. He had crazy long hair. He would do like rodeo celebrations after he tackled somebody. He got kicked off the team. He got like arrested right after he graduated, was almost always in trouble. I want to say missed a few games because he was, I think, just in the doghouse. But when that guy played, was incredible. Had a really great game at Texas. I want to say it was that year we won with Arnaud back in like 2010, and maybe I have the arrow wrong, but Jake Latimer was probably more of a guy, but when he played well, he was really good. And I think anybody my age remembers Jake Latimer as being insane, but also being a good player. Is that a name you remembered?
It's I mean, I'd have to think back on that one.
Yeah.
It's not one that pops into my mind right away. I gotta ask you, does Real Mitchell count as a guy? Is he too well known as like the country music because everybody brings it up every
He's
time?
too well known because of the country stuff and because he still tweets about Iowa State really positively. But man, Keeney, I was there for that Louisiana Monroe game. I was convinced he was the truth. Really was.
He was just in a QB room with Brock Purdy, and then if anybody doesn't know, he is just like releasing country music now. He played at a few schools, and now he's a country music artist.
And he was a really high level. He was a high level recruit. Like he was one we were really excited to get. Brock Purdy was one at the time where like I'm not sure what to expect. We kind of thought Real would be the guy in the offseason. The last one I had
about this one.
Oh, Jackson Pence, you did it. I was gonna go
a couple
there.
people said Darius Darks. Yeah. I mean, it's just Darius Darks is just he's an awesome wide receiver name.
It's an elite wide receiver name. One of the best. I freaking loved Darius Darks. Number 6, he was little. It felt like he played there forever. Did he play 4-5 seasons? Like Darius Darks was seemingly in an Iowa State uniform for an eternity. I love that guy. He made some big catches. I want to say he had a really big catch against Oklahoma State in 2011 during that upset. He was a Texas guy, right? Because Rhodes would, for you younger people, Paul would go to Texas and Florida, and what would he do, Keeney? He would recruit. This is a quiz. People that the big programs didn't take, right? His theory was that a 3-star that gets passed on by Texas and Texas A&M is still better than a 4-star from Missouri or from Minnesota. And he wasn't entirely wrong. And at the time, Iowa State was playing over half the road games in Texas, seemingly, but it was not a great strategy.
And it obviously didn't work out. We had just an endless.
He started 34 games at Iowa State. That is a lot for a wide receiver, man. That's a lot.
We had a lot of guys at wide receiver for a long time, like Albert Gary. Do you remember Albert Gary?
Caught a touchdown against Oklahoma State. Number 18, Albert Gary. I believe, unfortunately, maybe kicked off the team. Darius Darks makes me so happy. Another one that was just hold on.
Guys just ended up getting kicked off the team.
Dondre Daly, Jackson Pence. I know you remember Dondre Daly, number 13. Just a total guy. Not a great wide receiver.
Daly. I don't remember him doing much on the field, but I remember Dondre Daly. That's another great wide receiver name.
That's such a great wide receiver name.
I think Matthew Eaton will count as a guy as like.
I did like Matthew Eaton.
He was like the third receiver on a team with Allen Lazard and Hakeem Butler.
Dondre Daly was in Iowa State for a long time, 5 seasons. Got hurt one year and I think sat out. Really smart guy. Was academic, all Big 12, second team a couple times. So shout out. Matt Eaton actually was a nice player. That receiving core of was it Marchie Murdoch, Matt Eaton, Hakeem Butler, and Trevor Ryan. Like that was a pretty solid receiving core in hindsight, right? Like Eaton was kind of your possession guy. Marchie Murdoch, obviously friend of us for a long time, really liked him. He was honestly, a really productive wide receiver. Like Marchie is way too good to be just a guy. Here's one, Keeney, though, that this is truly random, and this is for Jackson Pence. Cleon Lang is a name I cannot get out of my head. He's one of those football names that's just stuck in my brain. He was a defensive lineman for the Rhodes era, bridged into the early Campbell era. Keeney, here's the fun fact about Cleon Lang, who you probably don't know anything about.
I know the name. Couldn't tell you much about the football player, but I remember Cleon Lang.
He is a CFL star. He's won 2 Grey Cups, and he's still playing. He's like widely considered a really good defensive lineman in the Canadian Football League. He's still going. It's probably his 10th or 11th season. I mean, what a random Cleon Lang. That's probably not a name you've thought about in 12 years, and you're welcome for that one.
Do you think
those are the kind of sick names that live in my head?
Do you think Jarvis West is too good to be a guy?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Hold
The
on.
punt
Hold on.
returner.
Hold on. I'm going to be Jarvis West on this podcast right now.
Oh, that's mean.
Hello.
I mean,
Hello, Keeney. I'm Jarvis West. Oh, sorry.
that's so mean.
I know, but he was so short, Keeney. How short was he?
He was tiny, but he was a really good punt returner.
He was dynamic, electric. Number one, had great hair, very long dreads. Little Jarvis was what we called him. He was like they ran one play for him, Keeney. It was a 15-yard slant catch at the middle of the field, and he would make 3 guys miss and get 30 yards. That was the only route that he ran, seemingly, like the only one.
Is he too good to be a guy? Because he was mostly known
chat,
as
hold on. Anyone in the chat, do you remember Jarvis West fondly? Because I do think he was kind of a fan favorite. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he transfer with Steel Jance? Didn't they play at the same community college? Is that right?
I have no idea.
He was a transfer, and I know he was. That brings me to another name from the same period, a guy that I loved, Aaron Wimberly, running back.
Yeah, I think he's a little too good.
He was good.
He was like a starting running back.
Okay, you remember him the same way I do, right? He was a good player, correct? Like he was a transfer. He may have been the one that transferred in with Steel Jance.
Here's another wide receiver guy, Aaron.
I am thinking of Aaron. Another one that was about this tall. Number 3. You're right. Thank you, James. He did transfer in with Steel Jance. You know what? Jarvis West was he played a lot of games at Iowa State.
He did.
He was on a kick return watch list.
I'm getting memory. I feel like I remember.
That's right.
He had a passing touchdown in a game.
In one game, Jarvis did punt return, threw one to Lazard and caught one. That is a crazy pull. That's right. In 2014, one of just 3 players in FBS or FCS history to catch a touchdown, return a punt, and throw one since 1998. That's insane.
Matt, we're burning through a lot of guys, but I've got a guy.
Let's hear it. I'm here for it.
Okay, this is a guy who is literally known for one play, and I think that's it, and I think it qualifies him for guy status. Matt, do you remember Aiden Bitter?
Wide receiver? The catch against Iowa on the road?
The catch against Iowa, and then he never did anything again.
That's incredible. I totally forgot about that guy. He made one catch, and then we never heard from him again. Never saw him.
Yep.
He just disappeared.
I sent you this one, Kane Seeley. Do you remember Kane Seeley?
Oh, man. I love that. Kane Seeley, I hope you're not listening to this. I love to hate on you in our Slack. You caught a lot of wrath from me, and I know you were just trying your best. And
it's because, well, he played in my conference in high school, and he was on a terrible high school team. We beat the crap out of Perry.
He played for Perry, correct?
Yeah, we beat the crap out of Perry every year. And the scouting report was literally tackle Kane Seeley. And that was the only thing we had to do to beat Perry. Oh, I forgot about this.
Boy, yeah, I have one. He was an awesome
wrestler.
I have one for you.
Much better wrestler than linebacker.
Really good wrestler. Michael O'Connell was a corner in the Rhodes era. His last season would have been 2010. When you go to okay, this is going to sound bad. This is the stereotypical joke about the white cornerback. His Iowa State bio is basically all second or first team academic all Big 12, which he made 6 times. So I remember he played his whole senior year with a broken hand, had a big cast, a big club, and had a crazy good year. Made 60 tackles as a senior, had an interception. The reason I remember him, that year we beat Texas on the road. It was one of those that upset win when they were ranked. He had an interception in the end zone in that game. These are the things my wife gets mad at me because I can't remember what our pediatrician's name is or our teacher, but I can remember that Michael O'Connell had an interception in the end zone against Texas back in 2010.
There's a comment that I'm debating putting on the screen.
Oh no! Oh no! Hold on.
What's the
worst thing? What's worse can happen?
Should we just let it rip?
And do it. Why not?
Okay. Do you remember DeMonte Ruth? That's really mean.
I mean, if you could see Snapchats of the Slack conversations that we had about that player, Keeney, I mean, we all enough said. Don Rickles, that's
I'm also seeing Carson Epps as another wide receiver.
okay. Hold on. Carson Epps was on our roster for 18 years. That guy was on our team for an eternity, and he never played. Why was he on the roster for so long? He was hurt like 7 times. That's a great name, and Carson Epps, Keeney, that is one of the best names we've had. Totally random. I think he was supposed to start and did something to get into Campbell's doghouse. He was a fairly highly regarded recruit. I think Vanderbilt was where he was supposed to go. So he played in 12 games in 16, started in 3. I'm looking this up. Played in all 12 games as a junior. His senior year with Campbell, 18, 3 games. The rare player that actually played less as he got older. Again, something that he did, Campbell didn't like. I don't know if it was because he didn't block. I think maybe we could go back and figure that out somehow. That is a great poll. Very random.
Oh my!
There was a guy that played.
Oh my God.
Hold on. There was a guy that played under Rhodes. His name was Kennard Banks. Kennard Banks was a really good corner. Kennard Banks would get a personal foul, Keeney, once a game, literally once a game. And while they were at the Insight Bowl in Phoenix, got suspended for the game. He went out and partied the night before the game. And I remember reading the article when I woke up on my Aunt Linda's computer, because we stayed at her house in Phoenix. I'm like, you moron. He was like one of our better corners, was literally just perpetually in trouble. And if anybody is older than me, they will for sure remember Kennard Banks.
I mean, there's just so many wide receivers too. Darren Wilson Jr. I remember Darren Wilson Jr.
Another guy a wide receiver we talked about a lot who did nothing.
I mean, wide receiver might be the number one position for guys too. Pence is also chiming in with Edwin Arceo, a kicker. Can kickers be guys?
Hold on. Jackson Pence, who was the horrible kicker? The punter that cost us several games back in, was it 21? Do you remember there was that TCU game where we had just perpetual bad punt after bad punt? There was the game in Iowa City where we had perpetual bad punt after bad punt. That guy was a total dude. Do you remember who he was? Was he like a drop kicker? Didn't we have a random drop kicker? I thought we did.
I don't remember the name.
But you know who I'm talking about.
I don't think it was Jace Gilbert, was it?
Ooh, it might have been Jace Gilbert. How random is that we had another Jace Gilbert on the team, but he played defensive line? I think that's a great poll.
I also thought about Sam E. Richardson because I think it's just really funny that we had 2 Sam Richardsons.
Sam E. was a defensive back. Is that right?
Yeah, he was a D back. I think he was pretty good, honestly.
That's a really good poll. I could do this.
Sammy and Sammy
I could do this forever.
All right, so what we're gonna have to do. This is 100% a segment that I'm stealing from a podcast that I used to really enjoy, where it was just the guy of the week, and they would just name a guy and say, "Do you remember that guy?" And it would be a professional athlete, it'd be an NBA player, an NFL player, or whatever, and it would just be like, the segment was literally, "Hey, do you remember like Doug Minkiewicz? Remember that guy?"
I do remember Doug Minkiewicz.
And that was the segment. It's like, yeah, remember that guy?
Yeah. Taron Benton. Taron Benton was a good corner. Not a jag. He was actually really good. Boy. There's a name. I want to get to it. Hold on a second. Okay, so what I think we should do is probably pick one player that we mentioned as the most random. Darrell Givens is really random. A cornerback we had back in the Corey Dunn. There it is. Man, F that guy.
Remember a punter.
Oh, Rashawn Parker. He was so good. Hold on. Not a guy. Do you remember Dale Pearson? He went by Twitter as the Sack Mamba. I want to say he had the single season record for sacks until Jaquan Bailey broke it, which is just a crime. That he was the record holder for a brief period of time.
He had like a bunch of them in one game.
Like five in one game. Yeah, that's right. The sack Mamba, Dale Pearson.
Remember JD Wagner? Maybe he's a little bit too good to be a guy.
Would he do like he would do like the kick,
The really high
like
kick after you get a sack.
Yes, that's right. Another great name is Josh Kniffel. When we had the hell at the smack at the Jack with Baylor, when we had the big fight, Josh Kniffel got ejected, and then they brought him back out of the tunnel to eject David Montgomery. And in that edit that Sound Off did, he featured heavily in it. I want to say he was an Iowa Western guy. He was an Iowa boy, I'm pretty sure. That's just a name that because he's in that video, I will never forget. I'd also be remiss if I didn't call out two friends of mine, Gary Gregg and Paul Zinnel. They were both walk-ons in the 2010, 11, 12 seasons. One was a DN, one was a D-back. Just total walk-ons. Do you remember? This is a great name, Roosevelt Majit. That doesn't ring a bell at all to you, does it?
I vaguely remember the name. I can't
Rosie
tell you anything
Majit.
about the player, but it's a name that's hard to forget.
He was a pretty good. He actually started some games, but man, that's such a good name, Rosie Majit. I'm really like 2010 is like right in my wheelhouse where we were paying attention. Okay, hold on. Okay, here's a classic. This is why I love football, and this is why our wives Keeney get frustrated. Do you remember Carter Bykowski?
I remember the name Carter Bykowski.
You know why you remember the name?
I'm sure you're going to remind me.
Because this was at a time when there were no Cyclones in the NFL, right? And Carter Bykowski was picked in the 7th round of the 2013 draft, 46th overall by the 49ers. Played for the Vikings, played for the Falcons afterwards. But no joke, the last time I was in the practice facility and I got to walk past the NFL board, I saw his little plaque up there. And I go, oh, 7th round, 2013, picked by the 49ers. And someone right next to me goes, I bet your wife loves that those facts live in your brain. I'm like, I get yelled at it about once a week. Like, you can't listen to me or remember what I'm saying, but you can remember what round Carter Bykowski was drafted in and where he went. But Keeney, back in the day, we'd be lucky to have one player picked in a draft. So when Carter Bykowski got drafted, you remembered where he went because it was a big deal. So he can't be a dude, but that's one of those to me that's always random just because like none of us, I don't remember what he did at Iowa State at all, but for years I got to claim him as an NFL player and we had no choice. So we did. Any more from you? If I have a vote for most random, Darius Darks is so hard to beat. That's and he's not random because he started a shit ton of games here. But between the name, the fact that he was here forever, it's like, is that guy ever going to get off the roster? Because if you ask someone, do you remember Darius Reynolds? Money Reynolds, they're going to say yes. Number 7, he scored a ton of touchdowns. And he was really good at Iowa State. He was clearly the best receiver on all those teams. Darius Reynolds was at the time, like, I'm going to throw it to that guy and he's going to catch it. He had one of those Moss-type touchdowns against Oklahoma State in that game. He was famous for in the UConn game on the road when they pushed our mascot down the stairs. He had a long breakaway touchdown, and I think he celebrated at the 1-yard line, and they called it back. He was a really good player. But Darius Darks is like, if you ask someone to say, I think that guy had like 30 catches in his career. He had a ton. He had like 1,500 career receiving yards. But that is such a freaking random name. I mean, Tad Ekby is also great. First of all, Tad Ekby is a great sounding name, and it is truly extremely random. I think Keeney, Darius Darks is probably too good to be random.
But I think if you played on a really terrible team,
they were bad.
Like we were really bad when Darius Darks was on the team.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think you got to be a guy because nobody remembers anything positive about the team. So like so many of the receivers, Darius Darks, Tad Ekby, Albert Gary,
Dondre
Daly, like
Aaron Horn, which is a great pull.
So many of these
just bad wide receivers.
Like not even bad receivers, just guys that they didn't have quarterbacks that could get them the ball. And
that stretch with Barnett, Samby Richardson, Grant Rohach, there's a random name.
Grant
Nobody could
Rojas
get them the
very
ball
well.
reliably. Like I remember Keeney when I was a freshman, the Des Moines Register wrote an article that said for Iowa State to be good, they have to get a quarterback that can get a completion percentage into the 60s. And they had the stats for like the last 5 or 6 years of ISU quarterbacks, nobody above 56%.
Oh,
50% completion percentage in college is a death sentence, man. You're not going to win games at 50%. You just can't do it. That's part of the reason Brock Purdy and Kyle Kempt are such revelations is Kyle Kempt completed 82% of his passes. Guy just sure he threw short a lot, but he completed them all. And Grant Rojas couldn't hit a 10-yard out. So
yeah, I mean, there were years where we were just DOA. Like we would walk into get. I walk into games like at Jack Trice and we're playing like a TCU team that's pretty good, and I'm just like, okay, how long am I going to be here until I go home? Like,
mid
oh,
second quarter.
it's 42-7 at halftime. Yeah, I'm out of here. Like, there's just no point. You know,
I think of what we talked.
there's grim times.
I think of what we talked about. Tad Ekby and Breon Creer are the two that stand out to me as just the most purely who in the bleep are those guys? Guys who played, but none of us really seems to have any recollection of who they are. So if I'm going to nominate anybody, it's going to be probably those two.
I like that.
I think we have to put a bow on this. Sometime, Keeney, the next version of this that I want to do is players that are good but not great, but maybe deserve a little bit more attention than they got. And I have one that fits it perfectly. And he came to my mind for this list, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, man, that guy did not get any credit. He played linebacker. Do you want to guess who it was?
Linebacker. I mean,
Good, probably deserve more credit. Early Campbell era.
Early Campbell, linebacker. It's not like Marcel Spears.
It is Marcel Spears.
Oh,
absolutely is. Great
yeah,
pull.
because he was just like the Texas Tech like assassin.
Pick sixes against Tech. That game against TCU.
He was like the best player on the field against TCU.
Had the interception to end the game. That was kind of like the official arrival. You beat Oklahoma, but nobody really knew. Right in that same season, you beat. I believe it was I think it was back-to-back weeks. You beat West Virginia at home and TCU, and that TCU game was ugly. Right, it was 14-7. Not a great game. I think Kyle Kempt threw a touchdown to Hakeem in the first half, and maybe was Marchie in the second. Matt Eaton, that's right, in the end zone. But Marcel Spears was when that 3-3-5 worked well. You had Ray Lima in the middle, but those linebackers, because they funneled everything to the outside, had to be fast, like crazy fast. And that is exactly what Marcel Spears was. He was unbelievably athletic. He wasn't a supreme coverage guy, but he was freaking fast. And he, in my opinion, made those defenses run for a couple straight seasons. And he bounced around the NFL a little bit. Willie Harvey's another guy that made those defenses run. Like those linebackers could read and they could attack and they were quick.
Willie Harvey, XFL legend. Willie Harvey.
Cleveland Browns legend. But Marcel Spears is a guy that we haven't talked about since. And that guy was an unbelievably productive player that was incredibly important to those defenses. And he was one of my favorite players through the first 5 years of that area. And I feel bad because we really don't talk about him. And that's one that I would love to do. Are the players that were really good, but maybe not good enough to draw like that type of hype. Because we don't talk about him the way we talk about Mike Rose. I think even Orion Vance, because of the years he put in and how good he was. He was second team All Big 12 his senior year. He was really good, and he doesn't really get a ton of credit. Like he was one of my favorite players at Campbell's time here. So I would also love to do that style, Keeney, where it's players that were not great, but were just really good that gave this team a lot. And I think that'd be a really fun one to do. Chase Allen would fit that bill for me, right? Like never had the stats we thought, never made the catches we thought, but man, that guy was steady and was really good. So that's, I think, maybe a shorter one, but we could do that one next, Kenny, which is players that you always thought were really good, but maybe we don't remember as being, an all-time great. How's that sound?
I mean, of course it sounds great. Are you kidding me?
Man, Spears was honorable All-Mention, All Big 12 twice, and second team his senior year. it's a really productive 3 years, and he's not really someone that we talk about. So I would love to give him some love. How about that?
All right. I love it. Matt, is there anything else you want to preemptively yell at people in your local Facebook group about setting off fireworks
Dogs, fireworks. Correct. Yep. Let's go ahead and get all that out there.
and children? My kids
And
are
small
sleeping.
children. That's right. Yep. No one has a basement or makes earmuffs, so you have no choice but to torture other people's kids with your fireworks. No, Keeney, I'm 33. America turns 250. I will be quite a bit older than when 300 rolls around, if I'm hopefully still here. So I feel like we probably owe it to our country to be a little patriotic and I don't know, maybe a little rambunctious on Saturday. How's that hit you?
Yeah, as I am slinging ice cream at the church fan,
That's right. Yeah,
I'll be pretty rambunctious with that.
bring some spice to it. No, in all seriousness, 250 years of freedom, and since we told the British to pound sand, I think that's worth celebrating. America's great, as a lot of people have learned coming over the World Cup. That in Texas you can get ammunition out of a vending machine, whether you should or not. I think that's great.
I
You
see
can get you can get
this is
gooseberry pie.
another comment about gooseberry pie.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on with gooseberry. It's like cherry nut ice cream to me. Who is buying cherry nut? Who?
I don't even
Who
know,
are you?
like, how do you grow a gooseberry?
Right? Is
Like,
cherry nut like the pits of the cherry ground up, or is it like nuts mixed with cherries? No one's ever told me. Kenny, I'm gonna go over to the beer. Maybe just kind of hang out for the evening. So let's thank all the listeners who hopped in, and hopefully they have fun listening to this. Matt and Kenny name random Cyclone dudes as they're getting ready for the 4th tomorrow.
and let's shout out the Iowa Distilling Company before I forget about that.
We need to do that too.
Wonderful sponsor. Should have done that a long time ago. Those guys are great. Yeah, shout out to the Iowa Distilling Company. Shout out to Iowa State for just giving us so many awesome random football players to talk about.
And shout out to the listeners and the folks on Twitter for giving us a bevy of some really good, truly random ass names. I have not thought about Philip Bates in a long time. That's a really good pull. That was so fun.
All right, that sounds good to me, Matt. Let's wrap it up. And
Darius Darks. I'm gonna go to bed thinking about Darius Darks. I can't help it.
All right, I can't end the pod any better than that.